All right. First question, Gavin.
First of all, we're not gonna do an introduction like who you are, what's going on, why we here.
I thought we was. Oh, you want me to do all of that?
It don't matter. Let's just
So
get
I
started.
didn't. I was about
Do I
to
need to
stop.
say something dramatic
about
so
to
then we can
stop
play
it.
like slow ass music?
I didn't know how you were gonna edit this. I didn't know if you was gonna have like words pop up and do it, like show like this is what this video is about, or we're just gonna get straight to it. We're doing this interview style.
So what's up?
I'm gonna ask you the questions first, then we can do the intro, whatever you want to do. All right. So, at what age did you understand that you were different from your peers?
Oh gosh. 8, 9. Yeah, definitely that. Probably I'll put it like this. Second grade, whatever age that is, that'll be 8. I think I knew I was different then simply because I was walking down the hallway in elementary school and a kid said something to me and it just threw me off. He said something about me being white, and I was so confused, like highly confused. And I think I said something to a teacher, and the look on her face, mind you, she wasn't a teacher of color, so she was a white teacher. And the reason why I say that because she looked so scared and so sad. I remember that lady's face. Shout out to her, I think. But I knew then. I knew then I was different. And whatever I had said to her, I just remember she said, no, don't never let nobody tell you that. And so I knew then. I was like, all right, I'm a little different. Got a little spice.
Okay. How and when did your parents explain to you about your albinism?
You know, it's funny. I just did an interview today, and they asked me the same question. Me and my family never talked about it, which is kind of weird, right? And I don't say that to say like it's a fault of theirs. It was just the first time I think it ever came up. I was in Florida and I was doing it. I was about to say I was doing an interview. I've been getting interviews since I was a kid. No, I was actually in Florida and I went to go. My granddad had to go to a hospital, and we walked in this hospital room, and the doctor came in, was an albino doctor. And I was like, honestly, to be fair, I felt ambushed. I was like, nobody told me what the hell is going on. Can we cuss? Okay, sorry. Nobody told me what was going on. And I just felt like, oh my goodness. And I got nervous and I was like, why is bruh here? What is going on? Is this like a little intervention? And it threw me off. You can ask me questions in between these, even though this is clearly your interview. But it threw me off. And so going back to my family we never sat down and was like, all right, you look different. But there were times where my mom had to remind me, and I know that sounds crazy, but I just thought I can run outside with no sunscreen on. I thought I could just be outside doing whatever I want to with no hat on. And my mom was on my tail daily. We never had a conversation. However, I don't mean that to say that my families needed to. They knew I was different. They knew that I knew it as well. But my family always asked me, was I okay? From a little kid. And I'm grateful for that.
Do you think they may not have brought it up to you because they don't want to feel like they had to treat you differently? Did you think that they wanted you to feel like you're just like everybody else, regardless of anything else?
In retrospect, granted, I don't have no kids, not yet, right? But in retrospect, I realized that what my family was doing was, I don't know if it was right. It was definitely it was the smartest course of action, right? They were trying to figure it. They were learning as I was learning. You know what I'm saying? And so they were kind of like, all right, we're going to let him steer this ship. And when he's ready, he can bring it up. Or when there's an issue, he can mention it whenever he's ready. And that they always ask me, are you okay? Do you need anything? Is anything going on? My answer was always no. And I was always, not always lying, but mostly lying. That's probably the biggest lie I ever told my parents.
Okay, so going into that, what obstacles and challenges have you learned to overcome and handle while being albino?
I dealt with we've talked about this. I dealt with colorism at a very young age. And I dealt with dealing with that. I dealt with handling that. I worked with navigating that. So where most people, and I stand to be corrected at any time. You know that. Where I think most women of color deal with colorism might come in relationships or things, that's when you get older and it hurts more. Not your first time. Mine's expanded past that. It expanded in friendships. It expanded in going in on a job interview. It came into, I had a homeboy one time, and he ain't my homeboy no more, but bruh told me, he was like, my mom want to know what you look like because she heard that you look different at school. And I remember being a kid, and he asked for a picture to take home to his mom. And I remember sitting there as a kid, like, and I don't even know if that's colorism now I'm thinking about it, but whatever, that's not the point. The point is, I remember I was a kid, man, and I remember dealing with that, and I was just like, yeah, nah, that ain't gonna work. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember, being a little kid and females tell me, like, nah. I remember being an older kid and hearing that. I remember, so it grows. So I dealt with that. But a lot of that was, and me and you've had this conversation off air, it's like a lot of it is you gotta learn to love yourself. I had to learn that early. A lot of people struggle with, and you've known this, I've known you since college, right? Mm-hmm. We watched a lot of people in college they had to learn to love themselves. You know what I'm saying? We watched a lot of people outside of college, like once they got older, learn to love themselves. I had to learn to love myself at a very, very young age. And I had to accept myself and know that this is me, no matter what, that dude said. I would say his name, but then we have to bleep it. I remember everybody too, by the way, who like did me dirty. That's why they call me petty, but that's not the point. But the point is, that's where it started from. Go to your next question.
So you are a photographer, right?
Yeah,
Allegedly, right? So with a person with albinism, there are it's a few health concerns, right?
Absolutely.
One being protection of your skin. Mm-hmm. The other major one is your vision, right?
Absolutely.
So you being a photographer, albinism affecting your vision, you clearly have overcame that obstacle. Mm-hmm. When you first got into photography, did you think that was going to be a challenge? Like, what made you, despite all the negativity that comes with your vision or anything like that, what made you still pursue photography?
Man, you the second person who told me that in the lab today. Somebody told me that today, and I never thought of it that way. You know what? Everything that I'm achieving now is just like overkill. It's like I'm past where I could have been. When I was 14, I had a guy come up through the drive-thru, and I knew his daughter, and he was albino. His daughter was my age, right? And bro came up to me, and if y'all heard that was key. But a guy came up to me in the drive-thru at my job, and he said, "Are you driving?" I said, "Illegally. I wasn't supposed to be, but yeah." And he laughed. He said, "Okay, you overachieving now. He's like, keep that in mind. You'll understand later." And I understand that now, right? So for me, I'm not supposed to have the best vision. I don't. Clearly, these things dirty now, and I can barely see. You know what I'm saying? I can't be out in the sun for long periods of time without sunblock and things of that nature. It's a lot of stuff. I'm outside a lot. You know what I'm saying? My vision. People gotta understand. I have some of the sharpest pictures, and my vision is jacked up. It's not supposed to be this good as it is. And so for me, like, I just look at everything as a blessing. Like, okay, I'm really, really overachieving at this point, and I'm trying to keep because I want something lasting. And that's my goal there. That's really my plan.
Okay, so heading into that same direction, you have something major coming up, right? Right? Am I
Key,
right?
Yes, but you can just talk to me.
I am.
Okay.
You got something major coming up, right?
We have a photo walk.
Hey!
We. You don't even know where the hand claps is on there.
I wasn't going to do that.
Oh.
So let's talk about it. What's it about? What's going on?
So on June 13th, we're having a photo walk, the Paid Exposure Podcast. It is, what I'm doing is I'm getting a bunch of photographers together and I'm getting a bunch of models together. And my goal is for us to, one, get to know each other, two, us collab. Also, a great way to a great way for our community to actually say, hey, well, a lot of us, or some of us, excuse me, I don't even believe in that, a lot of us, but I believe some of us do have that competition mentality. I believe more of us really have a collab mentality if we know the right people. If we know our people, the people have the same mindset. So that's what we're trying to do here, right? So I want to bring people together who's saying, hey, competition is cool, but I don't see you. You can be my comp, but I don't see you as my enemy. And once you realize those two things, then you can collaborate with any and everybody. So I want to bring that there and say, hey, y'all, let's come together. Let's do this. Let's hang out. Let's just shoot. Let's talk. Let's figure out what you're struggling with, what I'm struggling with, and let's be together. It just so happens we picked this day. And so I'm talking to my homegirl Vivian, and I'm telling her about this day, and she goes, oh, that's cool, because that's International Albinism Awareness Day. And I go, GTOF? No, GTFOH. I'm like, get out of here. So she was like, yeah. She said, I really think that's super dope that you're doing it on that day. And I'm like, yeah, I am doing it on that day. You're right. And so anyway, and so my thing is, I get recognized as being the albino photographer. They just call me the light-skinned guy. So ignorant, right? But it is funny. And so I laugh at that because it's like, all right, people do know me for this. The way I look, people recognize me for it. Let me put it like this. They recognize me first. I can't cut up and act up because somebody's going to be like, that's Gavin. So anyway, that day I'm kind of going to use the skills, the obstacles I've overcame to now show other photographers like, yo, this is how you can use that skill. Some of that is most photographers are introverted, and that's cool. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I had that phase in my life when it had nothing to do with photography. It had to do with the way I look, right? So now I'm telling photographers like, yo, nothing's wrong with being introverted. You just got to love that you're introverted. And once you buy into I'm introverted and you share that with other people, they're going to run with you and want to be around you and want to share and spread stuff with you. So I'm kind of trying to show them like, hey, this is how I learned how to love myself. This is how I get to be confident in my own skin when I have this model in front of me who, you know what I'm saying, I hope I don't mess this up with her or him. And so I'm kind of showing them that and saying, hey, this is how I learn to relax, and we can go from there.
Okay. So last question.
Uh-oh.
Aside from photography, right? Because everybody's not a photographer. This is more so question pertaining to your albinism, right? Mm-hmm. For the next person that has the same circumstance as far as being albino, what advice would you give them?
I give advice to two people. First, I'm gonna give advice to their parents, right? Okay. The thing I say, if your son or daughter, like, you got to help them to understand that they just got to learn to love themselves. That's with everybody. But children with albinism, they have to learn it earlier. They're going to have to learn it earlier, or life is just not going to go great. They're going to be sheltered. They're going to not want to go out, and you're going to need them to get up out your house. So first of all, but talk to them and let them just understand that, look, it's their journey, but you got to help them learn to love themselves and help them, within their limitations. I understand that, I'm able to drive. I'm able to be outside. I'm able to, my vision isn't bad at all. It's terrible, but it's not as bad. But, my parents made sure I got into sports. You know what I'm saying? They made sure, I was one of the first people to get my license. You know what I'm saying? But, and they made sure my parents, I was always out there. By the time I got to high school, I was out there. I hopped off the porch. not in the street way, but like I was willing to say, hey, I'm gonna take whatever comes with this by being loud, outspoken, outgoing. And my family loved it. They were cool with it. I don't know how my mom feels about it now with this podcast, but it's great. But so I would say to parents, like, let them steer, but also like just be there. Be as protective as you want, but they're already falling. So don't feel like, oh my goodness, I gotta let them fall. No, they already falling. They've been getting up way before you notice it, but just keep talking to them. And for the kid, man, whoever it is, I can speak directly in general for the ladies. I understand. I believe probably their journey is harder than mine. Just because dudes is ruthless and they'll use you. We probably should edit that out. We won't. It's okay. So, but you know what? The girls do the same thing. They like to sauce you up too.
It's definitely the same.
So, but for them, I would say like make up in your mind early what you want to do. Do you want to just keep your head down and coast through? Coast through. Do you want to be out there and live your own life? Go do it. You know what I'm saying? And just find a way. Just know like, yo, it could be so much worse. That was the greatest. And shout out to my mom, man. My mom was a soldier. You know what I'm saying? She went through stuff that I'm finding out. You know what I'm saying? And my mom told me some stuff after I got married. And me and my wife sitting there and I'm like, oh gosh, this is the first time I'm hearing this. I don't think my wife want to hear this. And it was heartbreaking. But you know what? My mom was a soldier and she had to navigate through that life by herself because I was too young to understand. And but anyway, my mom made sure she was like, yo, this is not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing ever. It's people out there who wish they could be you. And when I realized that, my life changed. So, and after that, we just grew. We here, ain't we? I'm here, ain't I?
You're here to survive.
Absolutely.
And strive. All right.
I hate you. I'm never doing another interview with you in my life.
All right.
All right.
And we are now done.
I'm so over you. All right, let's do the real podcast now.
Gavin, you miss me?
No, you was late.
Oh, man.